Hello there. President Putin of Russia has warned the US and NATO not to keep arming Ukraine. While Joe Biden tries to shake hands with an imaginary friend in an embarrassing moment after he finished a recent speech, President Putin of Russia is banning Boris Johnson and Liz Truss from Russia while issuing the US and NATO with a warning that they'd better not continue to send arms to Ukraine. And this is being received in the West as proof that Ukraine is using the weapons NATO sends them very effectively. In fact, too effectively for the Russians, it seems. And the Ukrainians are also using their own weapons very effectively. According to CBS News, an unnamed senior defense official confirmed the Russian cruiser Moskva that sunk in the Black Sea was struck by 2 Neptune anti-ship missiles fired by the Ukrainians. And the R-360 Neptune missile system is an in-house Ukrainian weapon. It only came into service very recently, and it is reportedly a rejig of the old Soviet Kh-35 anti-ship missile. And the fact that the Black Sea Fleet, especially the Moskva with its close-in weapon systems, electronics and decoys, was unable to deal with this threat effectively has raised eyebrows in the West, as well as questions about the true capability of the Russian Navy. And the sinking of the Moskva is now potentially the single largest military loss the Russians have suffered since the Second World War. Although there are claims circulating the web that it was NATO missiles fired from outside Ukraine that did this, but Russia's response of bombing the factory where the Neptune missiles are made does sort of put that theory to bed. Now, the US isn't letting on the wording of the threatening diplomatic communication Putin sent, but the US State Department did say, "What we can confirm is that, along with allies and partners, we are providing Ukraine with billions of dollars worth of security assistance, which our Ukrainian partners are using to extraordinary effect to defend their country against Russia's unprovoked aggression and horrific acts of violence." And now the US President Joe Biden is upping the ante and sending another $800 million worth of military equipment to Ukraine, including, says The Independent, 11 Mi-17 helicopters, 18 155mm howitzer cannons, and 300 more Switchblade drones. But reports are saying that Russia had warned the US of unpredictable consequences if weapons keep going to Ukraine. And the CIA Director William Burns said in a speech to Georgia Tech University in Alabama, "Given the potential desperation of President Putin and the Russian leadership, given the setbacks that they face so far militarily, none of us can take lightly the threat posed by a potential resort to tactical nuclear weapons or low-yield nuclear weapons." And the thought is that Putin could either use one of these weapons on a specific target in Ukraine to clear the way for his own troops, or one could be detonated in a remote area of Ukraine with the message being "surrender now or face more," all in the belief that the West will be unable to do much about it. And the only issue for Russia at the time would be the direction of the prevailing winds should a lot of fallout be generated. Now, there are inevitably going to be those out there who say that if the US can use nukes to stop the war with Japan, then why can't Russia do the same? And yes, those people do exist. They are quite comfortable with it. And others will say that Western claims Putin is about to use nukes is reverse propaganda to try and force the hands of Sweden and Finland into joining NATO. And sadly, there will also be countries around the world who will continue to trade with Russia even if they do use a tactical nuclear weapon. And you could probably name them all now, and one or two might not be that far away from us.